thank you, everybody. And before I start, I would just like to urge you to actually go to the link to look at Rod Stevens' actual presentation on November 5th of 2021. He does, of course, will do it better than I. And you also get to view the town council's reaction to some of his comments. So I'm now going to share my screen, I hope. The use, okay, share. Can everybody see that?
Yes, very good.
Awesome. All right, so as I said, I'm going to sort of hit the key points from Rod Stevens' presentation. He's done more than one. This will focus on the November 5th one. And just to recap, what are the things that drive housing around here? And one of the interesting facts is that it's jobs that drive housing and not UNC students, he found. And moreover, it's where those jobs are that are important. So here in Chapel Hill, we have a daily commuting tides that compete with each other. We have an inbound tide of workers largely going to UNC, largely going to lower paid jobs. And in contrast to that, we have an outbound tide going to jobs, say in RTP, that are higher paying jobs. And I can tell you that I spent a 28-year career on that outbound tide. In fact, it started before I-40 was even completed. I was commuting on 54. So what does this mean? It means we have the highest jobs to housing ratio in the region. That is, we have a lot of jobs here, but not sufficient housing for workers. So what are the needs that are currently being met by our housing stock? On the left, you can see that as far as undergrads for UNC, we're okay there. We have now a lot of market rate apartments, which is what single professionals appear to want. And we are more than fulfilled there. But if you look on the right, there's a list of unmet housing needs. And of course, at the top of the list is our affordable housing. And by that, we're talking about folks that are under 80% of the area median income, as well as low income housing people. And you can see that currently our AMI is up to 84,000, which means that 80% is about 64,000. So you have to have a decent income really, even to get to 80% of AMI. I also wanted to break down that number a little bit, just to let you know what the extremes are here in Chapel Hill. 18% of households here earn greater than 200,000 per year. That's compared to 6% for other cities in North Carolina. At the other end of the scale, 12% of our households earn less than 10,000, and that compares to 6% again statewide. But those folks at the top of the list are not the only ones, as you can see. And Rod Stevens pointed these others out. They're first-time homeowners looking for housing. They're families with young children. They're divorced parents who want to be near their children. They want to be near where their children go to school. There are empty nesters who want to downsize and modernize. And there are folks like me who are seniors. Well, what have we been building? In the 2000s in Chapel Hill, we built mostly owner-occupied single-family housing. But over the intervening years, especially from the 2010s to the present, mostly apartments have been built. And as Stevens pointed out, these are large-scale projects that have little connection to their surroundings. More important, only 5% of the new units were condos or townhouses available for purchase. So much of the new development has been targeted again at young professionals who are not ready to buy, but many of them will And they probably will end up choosing lower cost housing closer to their work, and Chapel Hill could very well lose much of their talent. Okay, so how can we achieve the housing we need? And let me just start out by saying, we've done this experiment here in Chapel Hill. We don't need to go to Boulder, Colorado to figure out what to do. We've actually done the experiment, and you can actually drive around town and see the outcome. So what we've been doing is we've been planning project by project with no real comprehensive vision in mind. And the clear examples are the Berkshire Apartments, the Aura projects that are going up, and the Park Apartments, which are just around the corner from me. So what does Stephen say we need to do? Well, he says we need to create neighborhoods. And to do that, you have to have neighborhood area planning. Again, we've done this. An example is Southern Village and Meadowmont. So we've seen how that sort of type of development has worked out. There are pros and cons, I'm sure, but it's there for us to view and learn from. And learn we should, because we have these opportunities coming up where there's a fair amount of land that's available for development. So the first example being what used to be OB Creek, has a different name now, but it's a large project across 15501 from Southern Village. Recently, the White Oak Road area has come into play. That's 41 acres. And then, of course, the Green Tract. So we have lots of opportunities. And the question is, are we going to focus ourselves on making the best of them? So one of the important points that Rod Stevens made was, if you're going to work with the neighborhoods, you need to figure out what the neighbors value. Well, again, this is not something that we're in a vacuum. In various different times, the Chapel Hill community has been surveyed to see what they value. And here are some of the things that come up on the list. First, open and green space. We really value our parks. It's one of the top priorities when people are surveyed. Along with that, we like mature trees. We want a tree canopy. We don't want saplings. We want pedestrian-friendly development, so we can walk, we can bike, we can rollerblade. And then we've made a commitment to act on climate change. So we want green design, green construction. We want to limit the mass of buildings that pop up, and we would like to see aesthetically pleasing architecture to go along with it. And then again, we would like to have adequate public transit to go along with these features. So if you go back again, as I said, we've done the experiment. If you go back to Southern Village and you go down this list, you see Southern Village checks all of these boxes. In comparison to Blue Hill, which again is close to where I live, it checks very few of these boxes. Okay, so now let's move along to what the town is doing. The town is actually involved in a couple long-range planning processes for development. The acronyms are LUMO and FLUME. And the key tool in this process, other than finding out, of course, what the community wants, is what tools are available to apply to this process. And of course, the major tool is zoning. And the question is, can we use zoning to get what the community wants, as opposed to what developers are demanding, and most of the time, what they're getting? Along with that zoning, or basically a subset of that zoning, is to try to limit conversion of affordable to market rate housing. An example, of course, in my neighborhood was the Park Apartments, where we lost 200 plus units of affordable housing, but also, and maybe more important, the mobile home parks around, where the owners are trying to convert them to market rate housing. So zoning is a major issue. There are other ways to go about doing this. And of course, we can consider financial incentives and other things beyond zoning. And I think the speakers coming after me are going to expand on these points. So I will end there and turn it back over to you, Steve.